The easiest and most effective way to improve your photos is to simply move in closer. 9 times out of 10, you can both eliminate distracting elements and cause your photo to have more impact by walking or zooming closer to your subject. Generally, every time you take a picture, it's a good idea to move in closer for a tighter composition. Changing your point of view is one of the quickest and easiest ways to take your photos from being amateur and snapshotish to making them be professional and excellent. If I shoot at a typical human height, that's going to be a pretty standard thing, what most people see. However, if I get down low and include some of the foreground elements in the image leading up to the subject, that creates a much more interesting picture. The rule of thirds is a powerful compositional guideline where you place the subject off-center. Imagine your scene divided into thirds, both horizontally and vertically. Then place your subject on or near one of the intersections of these dividing lines. Whether you're doing a horizontal or portrait, it's a good idea to position Andy in either the lower right or the upper right. You can also do the lower left or the upper left. The idea is don't have him centered. And also try to put him in a position where he's looking into the scene. When photographing scenes, it's a good idea to always keep an eye out for things like reflections and shadows. With these horses on the other side of the lake, we're getting just beautiful reflections in the water. When shooting reflections, you don't have to worry about the rule of thirds. You can place the horizon line, or the line between water and land, right in the middle, balancing all the elements symmetrically. If you were to compose this photo according to the rule of thirds, you would place the horizon or shoreline on the upper or lower third. However, as you can see from this example, that kind of placement would cause problems. The lower parts of the reflections are getting cut off.
And then the buffer takes forever at the end, right? On zero, it takes...
Just make sure that you keep an eye on your lower edge so that you don't cut off part of the reflection. Another great compositional tip is to look for graphic elements. Right here I see a line going off into the distance with a bicycle rider right at the end. The finished result will be that the viewer's eye travels into the frame all the way to this payoff of the bicycle rider. Now I also see a boardwalk going across the meadow. There's a very classic shot going up to Upper Falls in Yosemite. We're going to use the boardwalk as a leading line into the scene. When it comes to photography, the early bird truly does get the worm. You have 2 great times to shoot every day, in the morning and in the evening. If you get up early and go out shooting before the sun rises, you effectively increase your chances of getting a great shot by 100%. When you first start learning photography, you might hear people tell you to look at the light. But what does that mean? Light has a lot of character. When you wake up early, you can see a warm glow cast upon your subject. When you go out in midday, things can appear bright and bold. And when you go out in the evening again, you're going to be treated to those golden warm tones. Now, one thing that we've noticed about this scene is that there's a lot of white lichen on the rock that can be a real contrast problem. So some of the photographers have thought that adding a darker object might provide a less contrasty subject.
Whoa, you know what?
Although most people think that a blue sky is the photographer's best friend, it's really not. Many times, what you really want is a soft light, and an overcast sky can be the best time of all to photograph. Today we have a pretty blue sky, so what we're doing here with these mountain lion kittens is photographing them in soft, dappled light. Now if we can hit the moment just right when the light is right in their blue eyes, right on their nose. It brings all the attention right to your subject. Okay, now it's a good idea to avoid using the LCD screen as your viewfinder. Instead, you always want to look through the optical viewfinder. Using the LCD screen eats up your batteries like crazy, and you can also see there's a time delay, so it further increases the problem of getting the shot right when it happens. Most importantly, this use of the LCD monitor leads many people to hold the camera at arm's length instead of close to their face. This can cause the problem of camera shake, when the photo is blurry due to the camera moving when you take the picture. Holding the camera close to your face will help you stabilize the camera so that you can end up with more sharp photos. Now, especially when using such a long, heavy lens, camera shake can be a real problem. Camera shake is when you actually shake the camera a little bit when you press down the shutter button and cause blur in your picture. So in order to solve that problem, I'm going to put this camera on my tripod.
My wife works in Nature Center and they had a mountain lion exhibit. We did a...
Oh, that's a great shot. I love that shot.
Yeah.
And then now I can be totally assured that I'm not going to have any problems with camera shake. One of the difficulties of shooting digital photography outdoors is that you often can't see the LCD screen on the back of your monitor. The sunlight just makes it impossible to get a good look at the image. Just get a 4X loop from a good camera store and hold it up to your LCD screen. The way you use a loop is that you actually put it on the back of the LCD screen and then bring your eye to it. If I was using my film camera, right after taking the shot, I'd have to take out my notebook and write down what shutter speed and aperture I use, as well as any other distinguishing characteristics of this particular shot. Maybe the kind of light I was working with, what kind of effects I was going for, maybe even the subject, just so I had a reference to refer to when I was analyzing my slides or prints at a future date. With digital cameras, you no longer need a notebook. With every digital image, things like aperture, shutter speed, even the lens you use, whether the flash fired, and an array of other data is stored, and it's called Exif Data. You can read this information with the latest version of Photoshop, a specialized program such as Exif Reader, or sometimes with the software that comes with your camera.